What is up? We're back again. This is Be All In Sports. Brady and Josh back again. I'm here to formally apologize to everybody that might have followed my bets last weekend. If you think that you were hurting, trust me, I'm really stinging. So all my MMA bets, I had to eat the shit out of that last night. So that sucks. I had to now. The one thing that I can say is these money line. I went 3-3, and none of the single bets that I had in hit, and none of the little parlays that I gave out hit. So unfortunately, I apologize, but we are here for redemption this week. We're going to get it in UFC. We're going to get it in NFL. It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
For all you old school gamers.
Right.
And we are in it to win it this week. Man, I'm excited about this divisional round. It played out. It kind of I know, and Josh, you can kind of let everybody know what you did, but it did play out pretty much the way we expected it. I had my little bet change that I put in when I originally thought the Commanders, and I didn't go with it. I ended up switching it up. Had a last minute change of heart that cost me. The Vikings, obviously, they did exactly what you were saying they would do, which not change the game plan. And
damn, Darnold saw ghosts.
That one was a stinger. It did, yeah, yeah. He might see him in the offseason too. But
right. Yeah.
So we are here to break down the divisional round of the playoffs. We got 4 games. It's going to be an amazing weekend of football this weekend. There could be some that are I'm on the fence. I don't know if it's going to possibly be a blowout. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to get into it. Josh, I'm going to throw it over to you. I'm going to let you get right into it and break down your little last weekend for him too.
Well, it wasn't terrible as far as my money line picks goes. I mean, the Chargers, everybody lost that one. Let's be honest. Always overlooking small pieces of information. The Texans are 5-0, now 6-0 in the wild card round. We all should have seen that one coming. Like the Saturday first playoff game is their slot, has been for years. They actually nickname it their slot. Missed that one. We all saw the Ravens winning the game. Thought the Steelers defense would show up a little more. Should have known better. The Bills and the Broncos. I did quote, and I quote, I guarantee Ravens or Bills will lose. That did not happen. But still, it's not a perfect science.
Guess what? I'm really glad that they didn't, because look what we got.
Oh yeah,
That may be better than the Super Bowl, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. And one thing I overlooked is when it comes to this new playoff format, this is the 5th year. Well, only 1 7 seed has beaten a 2 seed. That was last year with the Packers beating the Cowboys, which is hilarious. But so it doesn't happen. So again, I didn't say the Broncos are going to win. I said the Broncos or Steelers are going to win. Neither one of them did. So yeah, we ate it on that one, but made up for it with the Eagles, which is the easy pick for me. Had the Commanders winning that game, and I did pick the Rams, which were plus odds at home. Granted,
yeah, that was a nice pick.
Arizona home game. I just knew that the Vikings, they did exactly what we were talking about. They have the exact same game plan as against the Lions. And it's like, dude, where's a 3-step drop at? Three steps, top of the drop, ball out. That's what Darnold needs. They did not do that. They thought they could get away with it, and they were wrong. So won that one. Overall, not terrible. You win some, you lose some. But this week, this is when the real fun begins. Can't wait to watch these games. We got some bangers. Let's get into them.
Yep.
So, yeah, we have the Texans going on the road to the Chiefs. We just saw this game a couple weeks ago, actually, in Week 16. The final score in that game was 27-19, I believe it was. Let's double-check that.
Yep.
I think it was. Yeah, so the first thing when this week started and the spread can change is kind of settled now. That 8 points, again, that's a big spread, man. It had been a push. It was 2 weeks ago. the Texans are still beat up on offense. They have one pass catcher, basically, Nico Collins. Hey, Nico, catch everything. That's not going to happen. McDuffie's going to shut him down to a certain extent. I mean,
You got
Nico
Schultz out there too. You got Schultz.
Well, yeah, but Schultz is like Zach Ertz. He catches the ball and falls down. So that's always good for. But I will say this, and we've been saying it for a while: the Chiefs don't blow anybody out. It's a rarity when they win by double digits. This is the playoffs, and the Texans were in that game. Remember when Tank Dell got hurt? That made the game 17-16. Texans couldn't really recover from that. Understandably so. I mean, that's a devastating injury. So for this game, I think they keep it a lot closer. They stay within the 8-point spread, I believe. Whether they win the game or not, that's tough to say. I'm not willing to bet against greatness in Mahomes and Andy Reid, especially at home. And the Texans generally don't play that great away from home, especially when it starts getting colder. So the Chiefs win the game. I that's my money line pick. I love the spread though. I'll take the Texans +8 because I think they cover it. The Chiefs have a really big problem, and it's called their offensive line. The Texans have Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. coming off the edge, so they're going to create havoc for Mahomes. Mahomes is Mahomes, so he's going to be able to navigate it and make enough plays to where the Chiefs can move the ball still and win the game. But I think they're not going to blow them out. And the Texans also have really good cornerbacks. So long story short, can't wait to watch this game. I'm going to bet on the Texans.
It'll be a good one.
Yeah, they're all going to be good games. The Texans cover the spread, though. That's my favorite pick in this game. Chiefs win the game. That's my money line bet. But the Texans, I'm putting my money on that +8 spread. They keep it within 8 points. What do you think?
I've been looking at that +8 myself, thinking I get it, but I don't really get it because there's always something odd that seems to happen in playoff games like this, just like this. And I have been kind of preaching, and I said that you needed to lose a game going into the playoffs, which they kind of, they did, but I don't know how much
they lost.
Yeah, I don't know how much stock I'm going to put into something like that. And they did.
Yeah,
they did lose, but they also did a lot of winning, and that really worries me because the team that you could be up against next, if you can get past this, is either going to be the Bills or the Ravens, and that's going to be if you think that if you have problems here, well, I don't know. But
don't get ahead of yourself. Just this game now. We'll worry about that.
I get it. I do have to say, I think even though I've been saying for a long time that the Chiefs need to lose, that wasn't really what I thought like I said, I'm not counting that, but you took away my +8 as far as like the straight pick goes.
Did I see your thunder?
I am gonna pick the Chiefs money line, but I have some different bets on this, and so that's not what I'm gonna tell you to bet. I did go ahead and put in a few bets, so I am going to pick the Chiefs to win this game. I think they can get this done. I think they are hungry to advance. And I think right now the Texans are too depleted. I think that defense, it's all going to be dependent on the defense, and it's all going to be dependent on if the Texans can get a player to step up. Because like you said, hey, Nico, come out and catch every pass, and Dalton, you're going to catch the other whatever's left over. You have to catch that. And then on the other hand, Mixon's not practicing. I'm seeing that he's still questionable. If you don't have Mixon and he's not at full health, you've got an issue. You've definitely got a problem there. So I think the Chiefs will win this game. But so I had a bonus bet, and I was just kind of wanting to get my money back. There's not too much on this. They didn't allow you to get too much as far as like a bet put in. And I went heavy at first, but then my method is once you go heavy, then just try and get your money back so you can bet more at a later date. So I went into your way and I wanted to use that bonus bet. So I just put 0.4 units, which granted, it's not much. And you're not even winning the money back that's there. So you're just winning that free bonus bet back that you can bet again. Not going to be much. But DeAndre Hopkins, 26 receiving yards, and CJ Stroud, 164 passing yards, plus 105 on FanDuel. Here's the way I'm summing this one up and why I took these two things. One, DeAndre Hopkins, even though I know he is kind of getting put on the back burner a little bit, I think that he is going to be that perfect person in this particular situation, because if you look at what he's been doing with the Chiefs, he hasn't really gone below. Well, one, he hasn't gone below the 2 receptions, I don't believe, in any of the games. And in most of the games, he's getting 3 or more. So I'm thinking that he can catch, 1 for 15, maybe another for 10. And this is the Texans, one of his former teams. So you got to think that he's going to be involved some way, somehow in this game plan. Every other game that he's played against the Texans, he has been somewhat involved. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets this pretty quick, is targeted pretty fast. I am hoping, because this involves my next bet, but I'm hoping that the Chiefs can come out and kind of get a score in quick, maybe him catch 2 or 3 passes right from the get-go, really put him in that 29 to 35, get it out of the way right from the get-go. That's what I'm kind of hoping happens. Now, I think he's well capable of accomplishing 26 receiving yards. He's done this in the majority of games that he's played with the Chiefs so far this season. And we've been saying for a long time, Josh, that we think Hopkins is kind of being put on the back burner a little bit until you get to the playoffs. And once you get to the playoffs, you kind of open that can and see what you got. They've got Brown back, and they've got Worthy, who is stepping up into his role a little bit more. But it seems like the perfect scenario. If you're trying to stop the top 2 people, it falls in line. He may be the recipient of more catches. I know he's getting up there in age. He wants to win that championship on his way out. I think he's going to be playing up a little bit in this game. On the other side, CJ Stroud, I believe you're going to have to pass. If Mixon is truly hurt, then you have no running game there that is as formidable as you would with Mixon. So 164 passing yards in a playoff game, to me, now this may bite me in the ass for saying this, but I think it's a lock. Unless there's some type of injury or something along those lines. Like I said, this was something that I felt pretty comfortable with putting in to get my money back. And then the next bet. Now, I will go ahead and be completely transparent with this. I do not do these bets very much, but it seems like every time when I look at like a spread bet, I kind of go away from it for some reason. But in this one instance, I saw there was a difference. When I went over to DraftKings and I saw this, they had this first quarter spread at -2.5 for the Chiefs. I went back over on FanDuel, and they've still got it at -1.5. So I'm thinking the Chiefs, at worst, can come down the field and at least get into field goal range. The Chiefs have been on a break for quite a while. So if they've kind of been resting their players, it's going to go one of 2 ways. Either they're going to come out rusty, or they're going to come out storming, and they're going to absolutely open a can of just annihilation right from the get-go. Patrick's going to be on. He's going to be throwing. He's going to be looking to get it in the end zone quick. Let's get this game over with. Let's put the pressure on them to keep up with this game. This is the game that we unload the offense. Let's see what we got. Bam. There it is. I think in the first quarter, if they do this, maybe I'm hoping 10 to nothing coming into that first quarter, easily covering that 1.5 spread. But ultimately, I think this is something that I felt pretty comfortable taking. Again, I'm playing these as 1-unit bets. Minus 108 on FanDuel is where I got this one. I feel pretty comfortable with it. So those are my first 2 bets that I put in for this first game. What do you think of those, Josh?
I like them. I definitely like the D-Hop makes sense because I've been saying since they got him, everybody's like, oh, he's not really. He's had a couple big games, a couple of touchdowns here, and what do you have? A 2-touchdown game. He's been serviceable, but remember this: they had to keep his snaps under a certain percentage, so that way the draft pick they're giving up for him is not higher. So I think coming out is going to be a whole new Chiefs offense that we have not seen this year because Andy Reid is a genius. His record coming off a bye is 28-4 or whatever in his career. So he's lights out front of a bye. So this Chiefs offense, I guarantee you, is going to be completely different than what we've been seeing throughout the year. Remember, they keep things under wraps. Their whole point was win games, just win games, get to the playoffs, get the number 1 seed, get the bye, then go from there. They didn't have Hollywood Brown all year. They only had D-Hop the second half of the year. With them 2 together and Worthy, stepping up into a bigger role, I still think D-Hop, that 26 yards receiving is money. He's going to get that for sure. The one thing about the spread bet, though, I will say this. There have been times in the previous years where the Chiefs, when they've had the 1 seed, they've come out a little bit slow and rusty, like you mentioned. I recall a game against the Titans where Mariota threw a touchdown pass to himself, and they were winning. Wasn't that 24-0? The Titans were winning in KC, or 17-0. It was a lot to a little, and Mahomes had to pull some magic and come back. They've done that a few times. Not saying it's going to happen this time, but the Chiefs can be slow starters. Again, they're going to win the game.
Like I said, I'm going based on because I definitely considered that, and I thought about putting it could very well be 0-0.
The other way.
They could be a slow start, or it could go the other way. But I'm putting more emphasis on the Chiefs' defense to play a bigger role in this. Even if the Texans get down there, man, I got to be honest. The Texans are the ones that, in my opinion, they seem to stall out when they go down the field, and they don't. They kind of get there and they just kind of, stall out. I do not think the Chiefs will stall out. I think their offense obviously is strong enough, especially come playoff time.
Well, I agree with that. And there's 2 things. The Chiefs are the 3rd best offense on 3rd downs. The Texans, believe it or not, are the 3rd best defense on 3rd downs. So something's got to give there. The tiebreaker to me on that is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to get it done. And then to the Texans part, like Nico Collins, he literally is their only playmaker. They just cut Deontay Johnson going into the playoffs. They need receivers, and they cut that dude. So Robert Woods, blah, blah, blah. He's had a good career. Trent McDuffie, the last time these 2 teams played, McDuffie was covering Nico Collins for 4 targets, and Nico caught 3 passes for 5 yards. So that's why I kind of like the Chiefs. It's first quarter. Go down, kick a field goal, and the Texans defense.
But it still comes down. It still is going to come down to, is Mixon going to be there? I
agree. I say, so if Mixon's not there or he's compromised, which obviously is going to be compromised, then you only have Nico Collins.
You've got Michi. You've got Michi there. He's going to have to step up. If you look at the guys that could be big players in this game, you might actually get really good prices on some of these players.
Oh, yeah.
Because if Woods is gone, you're looking at maybe Hutchinson steps up.
Deontay Johnson's gone. Yeah, they're gonna step up and catch 2 passes.
I'm pretty sure that Woods is questionable too.
I think you're right. And I thought Mechie was almost injured too. So yeah,
I don't think Woods is questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
ain't
mean,
got
it's
enough
all
force.
going to be dependent. But I don't even like it, even if they are questionable, dude. That just means they're injured and you're playing through it because it's the playoffs.
No,
It
yeah,
doesn't mean you're healthy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mixon's gonna be. They're all gonna be compromised. So even if the Chiefs come out, if the Chiefs offense comes out rusty, the Texans offense is not going to be able to move the ball. So this spread bet for first quarter, I like it. And Stroud's yards, 164 yards, is the playoffs, man. It could be 28-3 in the first 15 minutes after the first quarter.
Yeah, you don't
Well,
stop.
guess what?
You don't stop.
They're not stopping. So he's going to throw for 164 yards. That's a minuscule number.
And I guarantee you the reason that I think I honestly should have jacked that up to about 225, 230 because
I wouldn't go that
quite
far.
honestly, dude, they're going to be throwing so much this game. It's going to be, in my mind, that's the only way. And you're never going to feel comfortable. And
I get
I mean,
that.
unless they shut him down all game.
I get that, but his receivers outside of Nico are not good enough to beat the Chiefs defense. They're not good separators. They're not going to get open, but every once in a while. So yeah, you get Dalton Schultz on a 6-yard, catch and fall. You might get Woods on a 12-yard out route out of bounds, which that's what he does. Mechie, if he catches the ball, he's the one too, catches it and falls, maybe 12 yards on the field. That's not happening 30 times for the game. That's not going to. I'd be surprised.
It all comes down to the Chiefs scoring.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Stroud can get over 6 yards per attempt in this game, to be honest with you. So the 164 is a solid number. I wouldn't go over 200 yards because I don't think it's going to happen. But 164 is there. So, yep, that's about all I got for this game.
Yeah, me too. Those are my two bets, though. I like the fact that after the first quarter, I'll know if I won or not. I mean, that's pretty nice. That I can either cry or clap. One of the two.
Let's clap.
Hopefully, we're doing that, baby. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Right, we'll go on to the next. All right. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders taking on the Detroit Lions. The Commanders came in with that record 12-5, 5-3 away. Detroit Lions, obviously 15-2 record. Oh shit. Didn't put in the home record there. Sorry about that. -600 money line for Detroit. Plus 400 on the money line for the Commanders. Over under set at 55.5. -9.5 spread. Plus 9.5 for the Commanders. This is. I mean, it's the Lions, dude. You think I'm going to pick against the Lions? It could be minus 1,500, and I'm still going to pick the Lions, obviously. I'm not going to go away from that pick, okay? But, I've been tussling with it all day. Like, what would be that if you were going to throw out a bet? And I'm kind of happy on this because I do have a bet coming up that I'm going to show you in a second that I don't really have to be too concerned about this one because this is not the bet that I would play. But look, Lions they're a team that they are strong in the weaknesses of the Commanders. The Commanders teams can run on the Commanders, and they've shown that time after time. And I think this is going to be the same formula. You're getting David Montgomery back. I don't know how much he's going to be involved. He's going to be involved, no doubt. But I don't know if it's not going to be a full workload. You're not going to just throw him in on a playoff game and expect magic. So you're going to bring him along easily, knowing that you have a stud in Gibbs right there to carry the workload. You give him whatever you need because that man he's the best running back that Detroit has had since Barry Sanders. Let's just put it what it is. But he's really top notch. He's going to get it done. The Lions, if I can be quite honest with you, I would feel pretty good if I was putting in a bet just based on what I'm seeing here. I'd feel really comfortable, honestly, putting in a bet on the spread for the Lions in this one. Listen, 10 points in this one. The Commanders are the team that they cannot afford to get into a shootout, I don't think, with the Lions. I think if you get into a shootout with the Lions, you're in trouble. So the one thing that I think you're going to try and do is keep it on the ground. That is a weakness of the Lions. I could see Jaden Daniels having a very good running day. I am throwing, honestly, but this is also a team that is very good against the run. They have some deficiencies in the secondary, but they're getting some people healthy, and more healthy as you come along. And it doesn't really matter on the injuries. They've been playing with this stuff all year long. They've been dealing with it. So I think this is another game. They are the stronger offense. They are the stronger team altogether. And it's not a rookie quarterback. Look, Daniels is awesome. I fully believe that he is probably, in my eyes, the best quarterback that came out this year in the draft easily. Nix was very impressive, but I got to say, he's top notch. If he stays healthy, which that's always a worry with a quarterback that gets out of the pocket as much as he does, and his size, it does kind of worry a little bit. But if he stays healthy, he's a force to be reckoned with. This team's only going to get better. But this isn't your year. This is the Lions' year. I've been preaching it. They're going to get it done. 15-2. I don't like the fact that you kept winning towards the end, but I think you might have lost at the exact right times. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Lions running to the championship. Jahmyr Gibbs, I pray for your health. I pray for all Lions to remain healthy. Hutchinson, get you back in the end. We're going to win. We're going to get this done. Lions, you're going to get your championship, hopefully for the first time in franchise history this year. Obviously, I'm going Lions, but I'll give you my bet here in 1 second, but I want to hear your breakdown first.
So in my research, I noticed that these two teams, I came across 2 times they played in the playoffs. The last one was 1999. The Commanders won. And believe it or not, the only other time the Lions ever had a bye was 1991, I think. I read a lot of stats, so yes, I didn't write them down. It was early 90s. And the Lions played they weren't the Commanders back then, but at home, and the Commanders blew them out. I think it was 1990 then, because that was when the Commanders won the Super Bowl. So that's so long ago. It has no bearing on today's game. Just fun to know. To your point about Jahmyr Gibbs, he's the only running back this year that averaged 2.5 yards per carry before contact and 2.5 yards per carry after contact. Dude is a stud. Legit stud. As far as rushing stats go, they're right next to each other. The Lions were third, and believe it or not, the Commanders were like second. Lions right at 146 rushing yards per game. Commanders like 152, so right there. But the last 5 weeks, no Commanders running back has had over 70 yards rushing. So it's been Jaden Daniels. And to your point, the Lions gave up the second most yards on the ground to quarterbacks rushing. So that happens, meaning to me that they're going to move the ball. We love Jaden Daniels. The dude's legit. I mean, you can't even tell he's a rookie. He looks like a 5-year veteran the way he's playing.
That's true.
He's scary. Love him. He is scary. And he's going to be even more scary as they go down the road. The one thing I'll say is I watched sports for 40 years, basically, since I was a little tyke just out of shit in diapers. And in all sports, man, it's home teams win 55 to 60% of the games. So road teams are winning, 45% of the games, give or take. The home teams
every time, 60% of the time.
Yeah, 60% of the time, it works every time. That doesn't make sense. So the home teams went 5-1 last week. So I'm a big believer in the overall. Yes, individual stats matter, individual teams matter, but the league as a whole, that's what happens. So to me, 2 road teams are going to win this weekend. It has to happen for the stats to bear out. The averages across the NFL for its entirety. That's what happens. Not saying the Commanders are going to win. I wouldn't bet on them to win. Lions are the play here because, like Brady said, I believe the same thing. It's their year. But funny things happen. I can see funny things happening in the Texans and Chiefs game more so than I can this game, just because the Lions are dominating. They scored 564 points this year. That's the 4th most of all time. That's impressive.
Killing it.
Yeah, killing it.
Yeah.
And again, to Brady's point, the Lions run the ball. So even if Montgomery's coming back, he gets 10 carries, which is he's going to be a snap count, guarantee it. They're going to give him 10 carries. Well, then Gibbs is still going to get his 25 touches overall. The Commanders can't stop the run. So Lions win the game. I don't know the spread bet. I don't really like the spread. Yes, I can see the Lions blowing them out. We already had some blowouts, though. You know, the first week of last weekend, every game was a blowout, basically. So, except for the Commanders and Buccaneers game. So, again, the Commanders kept it close. So, I wouldn't really touch that. I'm looking at the 55.5 points. That's the 3rd highest over-under of the year. It's only the 3rd one over 55 points. It's 1-1 so far. The Lions are going to play on the weakness of the Commanders, which is the run game. They're going to run it down their throats, which is going to shorten the game, in my opinion. So unless, and it's very possible that Gibbs busts an 80-yarder or even Montgomery, even if that happens, that is a really high number. And to your point, too, the Commanders don't want to get into a shootout at all. They want to keep the Lions' offense off the field and vice versa. So I see a lot of runs, a lot of rushing yards, and my pick for this game is Lions win. That's my money line pick. But my bet is going to be under 55.5 because I don't think either one of these teams are going to want to let the other team score and keep the ball away from them. Obviously, no team wants their team to score. I get that. But they're going to play keep away, run, and under 55.5 to me is a solid bet here because that's a lot of points. I get it's indoors. They're high-powered offenses, but I don't really think the Commanders are that high-powered of an offense. They're really not. Jaden Daniels can make shit happen, and McLaurin's awesome. They're going to have a hard time covering him. But then Zach Ertz is catch the ball, fall down, catch the ball in the end zone, fall down. Great. But
in the Commanders, if Jaden is running, then it's good. Their rush game is it can be a pretty hard thing to stop. But if they're shutting him down in the rushing game, I don't know. Robinson, he's hit or miss.
I think what they're going to do, the Lions, they're going to take Azule and have him spy Daniels because Azule crushed it against the Vikings. He was all over the place. Now they're
talking about Anzalone?
Anzalone, Anzalone. Yeah. There's so many players. Anzalone. Yeah, that dude's legit. So they're gonna have him. I think they're gonna have him spy Daniels to control that because outside of McLaurin, even though the Lions are depleted on defense, they have the personnel to cover Zacchaeus and Ertz. Yeah, they'll make a couple of plays here and there, but overall, it's not going to be backbreakers. So that's the play I think they're going to do. And, I mean, I'd put in on anything rushing yards, Daniels. Give him 40 yards. I'll take that up for a parlay bet. I'd put that in for sure. But as far as just the game itself goes, under 55.5 points. Like that bet.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's a high total, and it is a playoff game still. So, I mean, the books are telling you, honestly, that the Lions should kill them. When you see a minus 600, especially in the world of NFL playoffs, that's what they're predicting from Vegas is the Lions are going to absolutely walk all over them. I don't necessarily know that is the case, but that 10-point spread to me, I do think that they get that, man. I think that they beat them by 10 or more, which may or may not, but that's me having total faith in my team. But I did say that I did have a bet. That's why, I wasn't necessarily concerned too much with these because I did find a player parlay that,
let's see it.
I feel pretty confident about it. I went on FanDuel and I started looking at these. Now, I'll explain this. As you see, the first one is Jahmyr Gibbs on this. Now, this is in the FanDuel your way section where you can go in on the single game. This has to be within the single game. So I have to pick players from that game. Jahmyr Gibbs to have more receiving yards than David Montgomery. Look, we're talking about having this on a snap count, basically. I think if they have Montgomery doing anything, it's gonna be more running straight up the middle. They're not gonna put him in dangerous situations. And to me, catching a pass and having to turn and face the defense really quickly could be a dangerous situation. And I don't think that they're gonna put him in that situation rather than have Jahmyr Gibbs basically do what he's been doing. David Montgomery is going to be a compliment, in my opinion, to Gibbs. I would be very, very surprised if they throw David Montgomery out there right away and start pounding him up the middle. I don't think that's going to be the way it is this game. And I look for Jahmyr Gibbs to have more receiving yards than David Montgomery. If they tie, then it voids out. So I think this, to me, David Montgomery is the more safe bet to get a reception. But that is if he's totally healthy, if he's not dealing with injury problems, and he's not just coming back into a playoff game. If this game is out of hand a little bit, they're not going to continue using David Montgomery. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs has more of that big play ability if he does catch a pass. So I'm going with Gibbs to get more receiving yards than David Montgomery. That's the first leg that I'm going to put in.
Hey, real quick. I like that real quick. I like that. First of all, didn't even know that you could do that in your way because I can't see that where I'm at in my state. You can just do more receiving yards than another person on their team.
They had it available. It wasn't. It's usually where it's against the other player, but in this case, you've got Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery. So
see, and to your point, real quick, I figured Montgomery is going to be there. He's available, so he's going to spell Gibbs. That's what I'm thinking. Usually they alternate series. He's going to spell Gibbs here and there just to get his feet wet, get back in the game. He's coming off of a sprained MCL, which is technically a tear. A sprain, by definition, is a tear. They're not getting 20 touches. So I like that bet. Perfect.
Yeah. And then, so to continue on, I've got Tim Patrick. 1 reception.
One.
This boils down to every time that I looked at it, I was kind of like, how can this possibly be? This dude is catching 1 pass almost every game. I think I look back, his track record is 3 without a catch all season. Yeah. And in the majority of the games that he was catching a pass, he was catching 2 or more. And I look back, the last time that he did play Washington, he had a good game. It was like 4 or 5 receptions for 60 or 70 yards. So I think this is a game that he's going to sneak in a pass. It could happen early. I'm hoping for something early so I can get in and get out. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what you always want. It would be nice if Gibbs could just bust off a 67-yard pass reception, and then I'm pretty positive he bust that, and we got 2 pieces in maybe.
He ain't getting that. Right. Montgomery's not getting that.
Listen, Tim, it doesn't have to be long. It just has to be 1. You just have to wrap your hands around that ball and protect it with your life before you hit the ground. Get that knee down there and fucking complete that shit. So,
no shit.
Tim, don't make me look like a fool. The next up, Austin Eckler, 9 rushing yards. I know this is extremely low, and I got a very good price on it. Look, Eckler's back, and he's going to be a part of this offense because, like I said, Washington cannot afford to get into a shootout with the Detroit Lions. And yes, they're going to pass. I have no doubt about that. Why wouldn't they? Jaden Daniels is going to test it. But ultimately, 9 rushing yards is not a lot. If you look at Eckler's track record when he's healthy, he gets about 6 to 10 carries per game. And they split time pretty evenly against him and Robinson sometimes based on who's hot. If he comes out, this could be something, again, that he could get it quick if he's in the game. He's going to be in the game at some point. So right then, it may happen on I'm hoping his first little drive. But I got all this at plus 127 on FanDuel your way. I think all these 3 pieces are pretty well thought out. I put a unit on this one. I hope for a return. But we'll see what we get. That's what I'm going to do with this one. We'll see.
Hey, real quick, I do like the 9 rush yards. I would actually go 9 receiving yards because he's the pass catcher. I would do that.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
I thought about that. But every time I do something like that, it backfires. My plan was he is a running back, and I think that he's going to I look for him to get the 9 passing yards, obviously.
Yeah, right.
But when I was looking at what the numbers were and what I could get at the price, the 9 rushing yards ended up being a little bit easier compared to what he's done in the past. I think the lowest he's ever had is I think it was either 6 or 7. So I'm just considering the circumstances. I think everybody on the team is going to have to be a contributor in this one. Right. So, like I said, 9 rushing yards, I think he gets it.
I like it. Yep. All right, then. On to the next.
Cool. On to the next. Let's do it.
All righty, party folks. The next game is the LA Rams, 10-7, 5-3 away. They're at plus 225 on the money line, plus 6.5 on the spread. The over-under is 43.5. Going to the Philadelphia Eagles, 14-3, impressive. 8-1 at home, but away. Minus 275 on the money line. Yeah, they're not away. This isn't last week.
Carried away.
Yeah, this isn't last week. The Eagles are at home, and hopefully no Eagles fan calls some ladies Rams fan a dumb C word like last week. Idiots. Just ignorant. Good Lord. What are you thinking, man? It's a game, man. No reason to go that belligerent, but it is Philly. They booed Santa Claus. And they cheered when Michael Irvin almost broke his neck. So whatever. As far as the game goes, I just think the Eagles are too much for the Rams. Yeah, the Rams defense has been playing really well the last month, 6 weeks, whatever. The Eagles defense, since their bye week, has been tops in the league. We have seen the Rams are basically a 2-trick pony. It's Kyron Williams run the ball, which he's not going to be able to do against the Eagles. And then Puka Nacua, who just catches everything. They throw it to him all the time anyway. The Rams have no secondary options. And as much as Kyron is good and Sean McVay and the Rams have a plan, I don't think they have the talent level that the Eagles have on defense and offense. Yeah, the Eagles' passing game is, let's be honest, shit. It's bad because I believe A.J. Brown, his knee injury, he's out there just being a decoy. I also believe that Cooper Kupp is the same way. He's older, but he's not even involved. At one point last week, Stafford had thrown 16 times in the first quarter and a half. 16 pass attempts, and it targeted Cooper Kupp 0. None. So that tells me that there's something wrong with Cooper other than him being 31 or 32 years old. So he's out there just running around to be a decoy. And that's why Higbee had 5 catches for 58 yards before he got hurt. Even if Higbee
knew that was going to happen.
What?
I knew that was going to happen too.
Yeah, I had Kupp on the fantasy team, so I was highly monitoring what he was doing the last 4 weeks. he's not doing anything. And the Eagles have studs at cornerback. They did lose their stud linebacker, which will hurt, but they have enough to overcome it. And the Rams' offensive line has been playing better, but on the road, in the cold weather, Stafford's an older quarterback. We have seen the older quarterbacks just fall off a cliff this year. Stafford's just not the guy he was 5 years ago, understandably so. Even if the Eagles can't pass the ball, they have somebody in the backfield. What's his name? Saquon Barkley. Yeah. Trivia question, Brady. Saquon Barkley scored 16 touchdowns this year. Do you know what his average touchdown yardage was?
You mean on the ones that where he scored from?
Yes, his average yardage gained to score a touchdown.
7.5.
No. 29.8. 29.8. That dude
He
can
was
score
busting them all year.
That dude can score from anywhere at any point in time. And check us out. So he had 16 touchdowns, and Jalen Hurts had, I believe, 11 touchdowns from the 1 yard line. Saquon don't score from the 1. Saquon scores from distance. And he could have had another one last week, but he slid to end the game instead of scoring another 65-yard touchdown. He's got 4 touchdowns over 60 yards this year. Dude's a beast.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Dude, the Rams defense has been playing great. It's not going to be enough. Jalen Hurts can throw for 150 yards, which he has been, and the Eagles still win this game going away. I don't really feel confident in the spread or the over-under or anything in this game as far as those bets go. I just like the Eagles' money line. I know it's minus 275. They win the game. I'm not going to touch the spread. I do think the Rams can keep it close, but Eagles win the game, and it's going to set up for a great NFC Championship game. That's pretty much all I got to say because the Eagles have Saquon Barkley and the Rams don't. That's all I can say on this game.
I totally get it. And, Eagles they're showing up right now, and they're at home. You have to give it to the more logical choice in matches like this, in my opinion. And the 14-3 Eagles, they're proving time and time again they're a very, very difficult team to put away. But the Rams, on the other hand, are definitely proving that they're a very tough team to put away, and they're playing with a lot of fight. And in a perfect world, which it's not, the Rams would be competing for a Super Bowl because we're all rooting for LA to pull out of this current situation that's going on, so we can get some normalcy going on in there for them.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but you definitely have the whole city's backing. Who wouldn't want to win and boost your city at this time? But yeah, man, you cannot side against what the Eagles have done. And I'm not, you have to think about it sometimes and wonder if they do win, what the fuck is going on? But we're going to get back to and just go on what we know. I got to go Eagles in this one. And to me, we said it last week, they turned out to be a good piece then. And I think that they're not far off as far as if you're putting it together with a money line parlay. Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think Eagles get this done, but if you're kind of being a little bit more on the risky side without being on the risky side, I do like that plus 6.5 for the Rams. Yeah, I think they're a competitive team.
Yep. Well, and here's one for you. So the alternate spread, you can take it to 8.5, and I would definitely bet that because I do think this is going to be one of the closer games of the 4.
I will say this. I actually did that. I actually tried to see what I would get, and that's why I kind of like the 6.5 a little bit more, because once you start, when I went up to 7.5, it went to, I think it was minus 105 at the 6.5, and it went all the way up to a minus 158. And then if I jumped it up to 8.5, it went up to minus 300 and something.
Oh,
so
shit! Yeah, don't do that. Yeah,
when you're
Yeah.
taking monster jumps like that,
yeah,
I kind of just like, okay, shit, I think it's going this direction a little bit more. But yeah, I mean,
it makes sense.
I'm going with the Eagles in this one as money line bet.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that, but it should be close. Again, I'm literally the spread. If you're more ballsy than we are, bet the spread, because that is a big spread. Rams can keep it close. Not sure they will. But again, it's going to be a fun game to watch. So let's see what happens. And what you got any bets on this one? Any parlay?
Not on this one yet.
Okay.
This could be one that I come up with something as far as like maybe a parlay goes. But I like you said, the minus 275, I would feel comfortable putting that in with something else. I think it's a decent bet, but I'm not willing to put all out, because I think this could be, if there's ever, you're talking about a road team winning, and I think that these guys have a pretty good shot, to be quite honest with you, of pulling an upset. Right time, right place. Matthew Stafford pulls out another miracle. He's got Super Bowl experience. The dude's won one, so you gotta keep that in mind. And this team has a lot of fight. They're coached well. They've already been through a grinder of the season.
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes, and actually, to your point too, man, with what's going on in LA, which our hearts go out to everybody out there. Thoughts and prayers. Hopefully that situation clears up and everybody's safe. There's already been so much damage done. So sad. It hurts all of our hearts. We're all Americans. It sucks to see that. So hopefully that goes away ASAP. And, there is something to be said that teams that have come from or that are playing for cities that have been ravaged by, a natural disaster tend to come out and show up. They show up and show out. So I can see the Rams winning this game. I'm not going to pick it, but, we'll see what happens. Again, it's going to be fun to watch, and thoughts and prayers for everybody in LA. Hopefully that stuff goes away. Not goes away, is not going away, but hopefully, it's rectified and everybody, that's still there makes it out safe and it gets back to some sense of normalcy as soon as possible.
Definitely. All right. Well, I think we're both on the Eagles here. Again, we'll keep an eye on that. And obviously, hopefully I may come up with some little parlay that I might put in. If we do something tomorrow night, then maybe I'll throw it out there tomorrow night, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll move on to the next one, the last one, the monster. Okay. Next up, we have a monster game here, people. This is what I've been waiting for quite some time. I can't wait to see this. I'm not saying that I'm a fan of either one of these teams, but I'm a fan of great football. And I hope that this is going to be one of those games that we get what we want, which I want to see magic. I want to see magic on both sides of the ball. I want to see a half defensive, half just all out fuck you up type game. You know what I'm saying? Like on both sides. I want it to be competitive. I want it to be fun. And this is going to be an interesting one. We have exactly Baltimore Ravens going to the Buffalo Bills. Baltimore 12-5 record, 6-3 on the road. The Buffalo Bills 13-4, 8-0 at home. That's tough to overcome, but I like it. Minus 110 Buffalo, minus 120 currently as far as the Ravens go. Ravens are at that -1 spread, and I'll tell you what, at the very beginning when this opened, I looked. This was a pick 'em, 110 straight up. And I thought about it right from the beginning. Let's get our bet in really quick on this because I've been saying it for a long time. I'm not going away from it now. And I also looked, the Ravens at this beginning spread was plus 1.5 Ravens. I should have taken it. I should have jumped all over it when I did. I waited, and now it's continually gotten better in my favor. I didn't get it at the lowest point. I ended up seeing what it was doing because I wanted to see where this was going to go. I was actually hoping that it might go for the Bills. It might shift in that direction and I'd get a better number. But unfortunately, it went the other direction. The books have put it in as they're currently minus 120. So I got it well, I'll show you the bet in a little bit. But that is going to involve one of my bets there. But people, I got to go my Ravens here. I think they're the better team overall.
Your Ravens, dude. Your Ravens.
Or not my Ravens. Okay, not my Ravens. You're right. In this game, I'm going there. In this game, listen, if I have money on you, you're playing for fucking
yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
So
I'll give you that.
In this game, yes, you are my Ravens, and I'll show you why in just a second. So, and I'll just go ahead and pop this on. Here is my bet right now, and this is, just because, hey, fuck it. We're going all out on the Ravens. I think they win this game. Like I said, I think they're the better team. I got them at minus 115 on DraftKings. That was the best value I had over on FanDuel when I finally was trying to pick it. It was already at minus 118, so it's continually kept going up. They're, like I said, I just feel like they're the better team in this matchup. Not to shit on the Buffalo Bills. They're great. But I think the Ravens are going to have their number in this one. I think this is the game that you're going to see Lamar Jackson open up a can, do whatever he wants. But I think that Derrick Henry, they're finally giving Derrick Henry the ball like they should. He should get 25 to 30 carries a game, which he did last game. So I'm hoping that is a trend for this game that continues. I like this Ravens pick. I'm not going to go away from it. I think it's a good pick, but yeah, when you're looking at spread, I thought about it. If I would have gone ahead and grabbed the Ravens at plus 1.5, now I would feel great about it. Yeah. If anybody did get that at that plus 1.5, you should feel really good about it because I think that is a really fucking solid bet. And I'm kicking myself for not taking that. But listen, the one thing that I will say on this, it's hard to beat a team twice in one season. And this will be the second time that the Ravens are going to be playing the Bills. And the last time was at Baltimore. So, and they kicked the shit out of them, quite honestly. So I think this
wasn't pretty.
The Bills are definitely going to want to get that one back, no doubt. And the Bills have that little ring of destiny too. But man, I'm a big believer in reading some body language sometimes. And it's the same way when I look at fights sometimes. There is a very, very, very calm demeanor around Lamar Jackson right now. And the way he acts is just, it puts it on a level of what the fuck? This guy already is kind of in that we've already done it mode. We just have to do it now and show everybody that it's already done. So he's playing with a high amount of confidence. And I think that is going to be one of the biggest factors. And when you have a running back like Derrick Henry, standing behind you, dude, come on. It opens up the game plan so much, and that guy can bust him at any moment. He can just absolutely tear a game wide open by himself. If him and Lamar get started in that rushing game, it's going to be trouble for any team. And I look for them to definitely steal this game. That's my bet. I'm going Ravens. Like I said, got him in a little bit early on this. But Josh, what do you think?
I feel the same way. I mean, as much as I love the Bills and Allen, I mean, I'm not a Bills fan or anything. I'm a fan of football. And we get the two MVP candidates going against each other who have both had phenomenal seasons. The one thing about the Bills defense is teams have been able to run on them all year long. That's been their weakness. You can run on them. That's the Ravens' forte. That's what they do. And they had a 13-play drive against the Steelers last week, and they were all runs. And it was, 75-yard drive? All runs between Lamar and Derrick Henry. That is breaking a team's will. I mean, they will pound you into submission, and that's exactly what they're doing. The Ravens, since the last 4 or 5 years with Lamar, they've always been a top rushing team. Always have been. The one year they ran for over 3,000 yards. Lamar had 1,000. They had a couple running backs get 1,000, and yeah, it was a good offense. But Derrick Henry is a generational talent that changes the game. It's not just how he runs, it's how much they run and what they do with it. Because they just keep at it, because he's the guy that can break a 50-yard run out of nowhere in the blink of an eye. And he does it all year long. I mean, he had 1,900 yards rushing. That's crazy. That's in the Eagles and the Ravens both did the same thing. They've always had good running games for the past 4 or 5 years. Top 5 in the league every year. Then they went out and got generational talent at running back. So instead of splitting up between, 2 or 3 guys, it's one dude. And now it's become a weapon for them. So it's not just, hey, we're going to ground and pound and move the sticks and get yards on you. No, now it's like, hey, our guy is eventually going to bust a 50-yarder, maybe for a touchdown. If not for a touchdown, we're flipping the field on you. And then Lamar Jackson is throwing 10-yard touchdown passes all game, all year long. That's why he had 45 total touchdowns. What did he throw? 42 touchdown passes? 41? Whatever it was. Yeah. 41 touchdowns? 45, 46 total touchdowns. Yeah. In the Bills, the weakness of their defense has been the run game the whole year. And, yeah, the Ravens are just going to pound the rock, pound it. And the Bills' running game is no joke either. I mean, it's way above average. It's top 10 for sure. Allen and Cook, I don't want to say a poor man, Lamar and Derrick Henry, but they kind of are. I mean, James Cook, top 10 running back. He's had a fucking great year. Josh Allen, MVP type year. I just think that the Ravens defense, especially the last month. So remember when their pass defense was terrible? It was like the second worst in the league, giving up yards to wide receivers nonstop. They benched one dude, moved Kyle Hamilton, and they made like 3 moves in their secondary in the like 4 or 5 weeks ago. Since then, they're number 1 in the league against the pass too. Number 1 or number 2. Whatever. They totally did a 180, and their pass defense went from being a huge weakness to actually being a strength, and their run defense was already a strength. So I don't see the Bills being able to overcome that. And like I said, road teams are going to win this week because the home teams went 5-1 last week. So when I said earlier, if you've been watching, that 2 road teams are going to win, this is my number 1 pick. The Ravens are going to beat the Bills. And unfortunately for the Bills, it's just not their year this year. Anything can happen. I just think the Ravens are too strong, especially watching that Steelers game again last week. I know it's the Steelers and they fell off the last, month of the season, but watching the Ravens just impose their will. They did whatever they wanted to do. And going back to even the Christmas games, when they went to Houston, the Texans were playing pretty good at that point in time. They were not any slouches. And the Ravens did the exact same thing. They just ran the ball right down their throat and did whatever they wanted to. The Ravens
The recipe
are just, they're an unstoppable machine right now. And the Bills, Allen's going to make plays. He's going to keep it close. It's going to be the game of the year, most likely. To this point, I just don't think the Bills have enough. The Ravens, I don't think they blow them out 35-10 again, but they win the game for sure. As far as over under, I'm not touching none of that because you get great odds on the money line. So I just hit the Ravens money line at -120. It's basically a pick'em game. So take the money line, bet the Ravens, and be happy about it, honestly, because they're going to win that game.
I think they will. I hope for my bet that they will. But again, that's what we got. We are off and running into the divisional round. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a good weekend. I'm hoping for a cash on all tickets this weekend, not only on fighting, but I hope, whatever else we put in. We are possibly coming back with a little thing that we're going to do tomorrow where we maybe combine some stuff. And we'll see what we come up with then. We've got a big sports weekend coming up. We got obviously the divisional round. I'm sure you're edging towards that hockey playoffs season coming up. Teams competing in a different manner. It's the same with the NBA. They're pushing towards that that playoff spot now. So, and you've got UFC 311, which is going to be a banger all the way through. Great card. So it's going to be a fun weekend. We're going to have fun. Going to make some money. This is the weekend we get redemption.
Yes.
And we get it all back. And hopefully you have stuck with us. Thank you for tuning in. If you didn't, you should definitely hit the like and subscribe. Let us know what you think in comments. Please help us grow this page because we are doing this because we love doing this. We love talking to each other about sports. We do this all the time anyway. And I'm constantly going on live now with, the fights every so often. We'll see how often we can keep that stuff up, but we'll pop on with lives every once in a while. We have a good time. We place live bets. We'll always keep it entertaining, keep it up to date. And for all the people that have stayed with us, I appreciate your support. Thanks for coming back, and drop us a comment. Let us know who you're betting on this weekend. Let us know what teams you're taking. Interested to hear from the community at large. And as we venture towards the Super Bowl, we're going to have some fun bets coming up. But let's go. Have a great weekend, and peace out.
See you when we see you.